social media with Ami Savla of Socialize Store. So she runs a social media training hub. Ami, say hi.
Hi everyone. I'm very excited to be here and to interact with all of you guys. Thanks
So
for
now is
hosting the people.
Yeah. So now is the time to get on social media more than ever, right? To build, if you have an already existing business, you can use social media to sort of connect to the world and bridge the gap that is there between your own company and to the world, and expose your company to the world and just take charge of it, right? And so I'm going to just directly get into social media so that this session is very helpful. It's not only helpful for the entrepreneurs who are thinking of running their businesses and getting on social media, but also for people who want to sort of just connect with the world and don't have that good an idea about how to go about using Instagram, Facebook, or as to which platform to use for which purpose, right? So my first question to you, Amy, is that, how does one identify that which platform is the best for their businesses? Like today we have like Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. We have Twitter, and then there are so many other platforms like Pinterest, Reddit, Tumblr, where people are posting stuff, right? So how does one choose that which platform is the best for their brand or their company?
Okay, so was first of all very important question. All platforms are equally important, but for your particular business, which platform is apt, you can decide by first deciding who exactly is your target audience. Because if you're going to be on a platform where your target audience is not there, it actually doesn't make any sense. So
Hmm.
first, very important is to define who exactly is your target audience. Are these young entrepreneurs? Are these professionals? Are these women entrepreneurs? Are these business owners? Who are these guys whom you want to target? And once you finalize that target audience, then you need to figure out which platform really suits you. So like for example, if you see Instagram, there's a lot of youth, a lot of products and brands are on Instagram right now, so everything related to fashion, to jewelry, to photography, everything related to pictures is what Instagram is all about. So
Hmm.
Instagram is a visual platform, vis-a-vis if you see Facebook is a platform more for conversations. So if like for example right now there's coronavirus happening, you'll see a lot of dialogues and conversations happening on Facebook vis-a-vis on Instagram. Instagram is much be about putting up the pictures, putting up the right caption, putting up the right hashtags. But if you want to build up conversations, if you want to kind of get into storytelling, that Facebook is a platform for you. Vis-a-vis if you see Twitter is a micro-blogging platform. So if you really want to share your opinion, have a say, have an opinion for a particular topic, then Twitter is a platform for you to make yourself heard, to make yourself noticed out in the market. Then of course we have LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a professional networking platform. So people on LinkedIn are looking for you for specific skills. Yeah, so say for example, you want to get hired, or you want to get some corporate jobs, or you want to get in touch with some professionals. That's when LinkedIn will come into picture. Yes,
Hmm.
YouTube again is a video blogging platform all about videos, how to, why to, and stuff like that. And then of course we have Pinterest. Pinterest is a platform for inspiration. Of course right now a lot of jewelry designers and fashion and interiors are also using Pinterest, and it is really taking up in a big space. So if you're in that market where you have good products to show, good inspiration to share, then I would definitely suggest you that Pinterest is also one of the platform for you. So if I
Hmm.
have to define all these platforms, of course Facebook is a storytelling platform, Instagram is a visual platform, Twitter is a microblogging, mini blogging platform. Also, conversations on Twitter are always in the active voice. That is what's happening right now. What's going on right now. It is moment to moment marketing. Twitter, we call it as a moment marketing because you can't post about yesterday on Twitter. It's all about now. Then,
Hmm.
of course, we have YouTube as a video blogging platform, and Pinterest, you can say it's a platform for inspiration, platform for getting inspired and putting up your good products out and getting more eyeballs for it.
Hmm.
Yes, so that's how I would define these platforms in one line if I have to for each of them.
Okay. I think we've left out TikTok, which is everybody's getting on TikTok these days. So could you talk a bit about how if TikTok can be used to spread awareness about your business, or is
Rana?
it just an entertainment-based platform? What is your opinion on that? Amy? Okay, so Amy, I can you hear me? Okay, I think Amy can't hear me. Can you hear me, Amy? Okay, so let's just wait for Amy to join in, and by that time, I'll just give you a recap of what she told. So basically, Facebook is more of a storytelling platform, and there's a certain age group that's there to be targeted when promoting things on Facebook. Like the generation from you can say 35 plus is on Facebook, and if you want to target more of the youth, that's there on Instagram. When it comes to TikTok has mostly been used for entertainment purposes. But in the coming time, because our younger generation, let's say people, if you look at seventh graders, eighth graders, or people who are young boys and girls who are just in school right now, everybody is on TikTok, right? So wait, I'll just text Amy to join in again. Yeah. So she's just coming. And the next thing we were going to discuss about was how to create content, right? Where to find the perfect content to. One second. So she's just joining in. Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Yes, Rana, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you. Okay, so the next thing that we were discussing is so I just gave a recap to everyone about the different platforms, right? And the next thing that we're discussing is, we've discussed about which platform is suitable for what exactly. And now we want to discuss about how to create this content. Which are the websites that will be helpful for creating the content? Not everybody is very savvy with the Adobe softwares, which are the professional softwares, let's say Photoshop, After Effects, Premiere Pro. These are the mostly used editing and photo editing and video editing softwares, but it's not so easy for everyone to use it because they are a bit complex, right?
Correct, correct.
But there are a lot of other websites which one can use for making this content. So I would like to know first that which are these websites that you recommend would be easy for, let's say a mother who's just become an entrepreneur and she doesn't have that much of an idea as to how the design works, or what aesthetically looks good.
Great. So, of course, there are some do-it-yourself platforms which you can definitely explore. So, one of my biggest beat will be Canva, Canva. It's an amazing, easy to do platform where you can. It has a mobile app also and it has a platform also. So you can just log into it and make all your digital creatives for free. So from your social media posts to your gifs to your presentations to your visiting cards to your logos, everything can be made on Canva. And if you want an alternative to Canva, there is one more. It's called PicMonkey. PicMonkey is another platform which is really useful. There is another called Poster My Wall. So these are some simple tools which you can actually use, and you can make things independently. You don't have to be dependent on anyone. If
Hmm.
you see for that matter videos, so there's this very good app called Filmora. Okay, then we have an app called InShot, INSHOT, which is again very good to make videos. Then if you want to
Hmm.
find out trending hashtags for your Instagram, then there is an app called Leetags, Leetags. Then there is a platform called besthashtags.com. There is a platform called Hashtagify. There's a platform called Write Tags, Ritetags. So all of this I can of course put it up in the comments later. But these are the platforms which can be really useful for you. There is
Hmm.
another app which you can use to have captions. It's called Caption Plus. Okay, so if you really want some nice trendy captions for your Instagram post, Caption Plus is something which you can definitely use. Then of course there is PixArt. So if you really want to edit your images, you just want to put up a one liner on an image, or you just want to put up your logo on an image, then PixArt is another very good platform for you.
Hmm.
Then there is another platform called Unsplash. So if you really want some good pictures, okay, for your creators, then Unsplash is definitely a strong platform which you can definitely use. Say for example, now you want to create some surveys, you want to create a questionnaire. There's this another amazing platform called Typeform, Typeform. There is Survey Monkey. So there are of course umpteen number of platforms, but these are some of the personal platforms which I use, and it has really benefited me. So
Hmm.
yeah, sharing these with all of you over here, right?
Okay. So now we've discussed which platforms is used for what and how to create the content, right? So now let's get on to what content to create exactly. How do you align yourself to the right kind of thinking and what's hip, what's new, and what kind of language people are using nowadays, and how to sort of find that content. Not everybody is so good at writing copies or just creating some stuff, but we all can go through a lot of content, consume a lot of content, and then sort of curate our own thing from that. So how do you suggest one goes about doing that? Like for me, I personally consume a lot of content from Reddit, Tumblr, and Pinterest. I feel more or less whatever I see on Reddit or Tumblr is there on Pinterest, apart from a lot of design focused things. I'm talking about other kind of content. So I feel if you look at these three, then the content is more or less similar on, I mean, anything other than Tumblr and Reddit. So, what do you suggest as to how people can search content, consume content, and how important it is for people to also consume so much content? Like only once you get so many different viewpoints, because it's not possible for one to be talking to so many people in a day, right? But you can just in 1 hour you can consume so much content. So, how do you suggest one should go about doing that?
Okay, so one very important thing is research, being there, following the pages that you really like or in your industry from international pages. Go a Google search best Instagram accounts of fashion designers, best Instagram accounts of interior designers, and Google will pick up the best accounts for you. That is one of the best ways of how you can curate content, what is actually working for you, what is not working for you. And there's this another very good platform for Twitter, at least. There's this platform called twitonomy.com. What Twitonomy does is it analyzes other people's Twitter handles for you. So it will tell you that, for example, in your space, some big person, big personality, what kind of content is he putting and what kind of engagement is he getting in his tweets. So you will also come to know that, okay, this is how even you can create your content in such a way. Yeah, so Twitonomy is another very good platform which you can actually use for Twitter. For that matter, I would, this is my personal suggestion, copying content will actually not work. Be authentic with your product and service, whatever content you want to put out, but just try to have your own style. You can get inspired, you can definitely take inspiration, but you need to have your own style. Otherwise it becomes, people cannot really connect with your content and then it all goes haywire. So take inspiration from everywhere, do research, check out pages, check out Instagram accounts, check out LinkedIn, see what other people are posting. Take inspiration, but then have your own style and put out your own content in your own way.
Okay. So till the time I asked the next question, Amy, could you just share the link that I've shared you with your audience so that they can also join in? I've shared it with you on WhatsApp. Okay, so the next thing that I want to discuss is, how important is design, right? So once you're promoting, should one be focused too much on the design aspect of it, or should they just go ahead with the content, right? Like some people could be good writers. They could have that sense of, okay, this is what they would be really clear about what they want to show and what they want to communicate with their audience, right? But probably their design sense is not that great, right? So I wanted to ask that should one be focused too much on design and worry about how their feed is looking? A lot of people spend so much hours building the right grid on Instagram, right? Like influencers, they plan months, like weeks in advance about how their grid is going to look like. So do you think that an average entrepreneur who's just starting out, so let's talk about that first, and then we'll get on to someone who is already good at social media. So, for someone who's just starting out, should they be worried too much about how their entire feed is going to look? Are the color schemes cohesive? In their entire feed, be it Facebook, be it Twitter. There's this one certain kind of language, even in terms of copy, that you should be maintaining. So, how important is all that to be cohesive and to sort of give away one voice all the time. You can't be wearing like one day I'll be this person. You have to have, even if there are multiple people handling one platform, one organization's platforms, but the voice has to be cohesive, right? So how much importance would you put to the design being cohesive and the content being cohesive?
Okay, so very important, of course, the content and creators needs to talk about your brand. Okay, you cannot have haywire things going out. Your style of your content, your brand style has to be communicated in a very effective manner. And that is the
Hmm.
reason I tell to all my clients and all my entrepreneurs that you might want to hire you want to hire a content writer, but the content has to be yours. Maybe the person can make it at a little, package it up in a nice way and put it out, but it has to be you. So whatever things you have in mind, you can put it out, tell the content writer that this is how I want you to finish it up, and then the content writer can actually do things for you. Okay, but now if you see the social media management part of it, one very important thing is the social media platform will also support you when you give it quantity and quality both. So if you're going to just bombard your social media with say 30 posts a month, but if the
Exactly.
quality is not there, it's really not going to work for you. Vis-a-vis, if you just give them 3 posts a month, again it's not going to work for you. Okay, so the
Because
quantity and quality is extremely important. So there's one tip which I can give you is having a social media calendar in place, of course, for business owners is very, very important. At least 15 days before the month starts, your first part of the month entire plan has to be ready. It has to be put on an Excel sheet. Yeah, and then you can bifurcate the post between a fixed post and variable posts. Now what are
hmm.
these posts? Fixed posts are those posts which are happening every month. You know that one social media tip, for example, for me, I have to put up one. Did you know I have to put out one quote related to social media? I have to put out. So these are my fixed posts. I know they're going to recur every month, so I don't have to put up a lot of time in it. So say if I've planned 15 posts a month, my 7 to 8 posts will be just fixed, which are
Hmm.
already defined at the start of the year. Then I just have to focus on the variable posts, which will be month to month. So like for example, coronavirus just came in, so now that is a variable post. You will have to now plan your post around that. For that
Yeah.
matter, Valentine's Day or there's Diwali. So those posts will happen only for that particular month. So you need
Hmm.
to give your mind that space. So you cannot plan so many posts at a time when you're a single entrepreneur, so you need to define this, and then accordingly make your choices so that your fixed posts are taken care of at the start of the year, and then you just have to focus on the 6 7 other posts which are variable posts, and
Hmm.
that is what which will give you that momentum. Yeah, so fixed and variable is what will go hand in hand.
Is there any fixed number of posts that you feel that one should put up, you know,
So
like
I
Hmm.
personally suggest that at least 15 posts a month for a business owner is a must. You should have at least one post going out every alternate day. So it
Hmm.
remains consistent, and you cannot just say that this week because you had time you put up 7 posts, and then next week because you were out of action you didn't even post one. Your entire reach, your everything is going to get down. So you need to plan. Please schedule your posts. Now there are a lot of platforms where you can actually schedule your posts beforehand. So
Yeah.
plan it well. If you're going to be very impromptu that hey, tomorrow is Valentine's and I want to post that, you're not going to be effective. If you don't plan it 15 days before, trust me, social media is not going to be a long-term game for you. So you have to
Hmm.
be consistent, and you have to pre-plan everything that's going out from the business perspective of your social media.
Hmm. Okay. So Geeta here is asking, is investing money on social media promotional posts really worth it?
Okay, great. So I would define it in this way. There are three stages of a product. Okay, the first stage is the awareness, second stage is the engagement, and third stage is the conversion. Now, promotional post actually comes into the conversion part of it. Promotional post, because that is when you are getting a conversion or getting a client for your product. But the journey of your product has to start from awareness. Okay, so the awareness and engagement, I personally suggest, has to be organic. Try to put out things organic, build a community around your product, try putting out valuable posts. You cannot just have promotional posts going out, because if you're on social media and just here to take, again the platform is not going to support you. You have to be a giver first. This is what I
Hmm.
tell all my people. If you're not going to be a giver, rest be assured that social media platform is not going to be helpful for you. So be a
Yeah.
giver, create a lot of value, and then once you create awareness for your product, awareness for your name, gradually you start building engagement, and gradually, trust me, clients will follow. You don't have to really push for clients. And of course, paid marketing is also important, because on social media, for that matter, Only organic can take you to still a certain level.
Yeah.
But also your paid will only work when your organic is in place. But if you're just focusing on the paid strategy, trust me, you will get stuck after some time. It might give you results in initial 2 3 months, but then you'll get stuck. Either you'll have to pay a lot more money than your earlier promotional post, or it will stop giving you results.
Hmm.
You know, so the
Also, the
mix of
engagements reduce.
yes, sorry.
Also, the engagements reduce once you keep, if you've built your platform from, say, promotions, right? Your engagements reduce, and also the followers that you gain at that time, they start unfollowing you.
Exactly,
So that
exactly.
happens too.
Yes.
What would you like to say to people? There's been a lot of stuff around, buying followers. So a lot of people buy followers, and but that doesn't work, right? Like, because they are mostly bots who follow you, and if you go and check their accounts, there'll be people with just 1 or 2 followers, right? So I feel that that's all a scam, and we should not go for it. Buying followers just reduces your engagements, and those are the people who are going to unfollow you eventually. So it does not work at all, and they're not the people who are going to be buying from you, buying your products, right? So that's not going to work for you. Promotions, I feel, yeah, it works to a certain point. You could There are also options like targeting a specific region, right? Say you're a hospital, or you run a dental
Hmm.
clinic or something like that, and or say, let's say, a boutique, right? So you could do target promotions to your entire area, and then those are the people who will be interested about your so how important do you think targeting is when it comes to?
Okay, so two things. One is when very valid point that you put up related to bots. Now, one important thing. So this is as a social experiment which we had taken. So there was one person who got in touch with us and he said that we can actually sell you likes and followers. So we actually didn't want to get into it, but we just wanted to know what was he trying to do. And
Yeah.
he actually told us that you pay us just 300 rupees and we'll give you 500 followers. And then we did it for one of our test accounts just to just to do an experiment. And trust me, all these were fake accounts created maybe by just one person from different IDs, and it
Hmm.
will not give you results because the followers will also start following after some days. It will just come down and things will just crumble up for you. And tomorrow, say Instagram decides to, make all your inactive followers, close it down. Your followers, which is from 10,000, it will straight come to 2,000, and it will be really bad for your brand. So I would personally suggest that don't get into that entire followers and likes game. Try to build your brand gradually, slowly. Work on your personal branding, work on your community building, work on engaging content, work on giving value. Trust me, all of this can really, really help you build more followers rather than just, paying for followers. Another, of course, is targeting. So if you really see Facebook and Instagram ads, there are a lot of way through the business manager you can actually target your ads. Like you can target, so for example, if you have an Excel sheet with phone numbers and names, you can actually put that entire Excel sheet to Facebook and your ads can be shown only to them. Or if you want to say target to only people nearby my locality, say 10 kilometers or 5 kilometers near me, you can actually do that. So all of these options are available with Facebook and Instagram, and trust me, you should definitely try them and you can reach your target audience. Now, if you see Facebook, it is so amazing that it gives you a lot of other options that you can reach out to people who are recently engaged, you can reach out to people who are recently married. So for example, you're a makeup artist and you want to get in touch with all the people who are going to get married now, so you actually can target all those couples who have been engaged currently, and Facebook has that data, and you can actually take that data and target it to all those people. So accordingly, depending upon your brand and service, all the
Hmm.
targeting options are there in the business manager of Facebook. Trust me, and it's very easy also. If you can just YouTube it, you will find some amazing videos of
Hmm.
how you can actually target your audience. So instead of buying likes and followers, do it this way. First, organically build your brand and then get into the paid marketing through these strategic and targeting options, is what I
Hmm.
would say.
Okay. So Ananda here is asking that I would like to make and sell training modules online and do affiliate marketing. Do I need to have websites of my own, or just using Facebook and YouTube is enough?
Okay, hi Ananda. So, actually, I'm also a trainer and I take a lot of online and offline workshops. So, I would personally suggest that having your own website gives you a lot of credibility. Tomorrow, when a person goes and checks out your website, it gives you that professional front. So, having a website is extremely important. Another thing is affiliate marketing is one part of it, but there are so many other things that you can do. Yeah, don't just get stuck with affiliate marketing. You can do FB ads, you can do FB storytelling, you can do Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp stories. You can put up your ads on different event listing portals. You can FB event ad. The FB event section is superb. The LinkedIn event section is superb. So you can create your ads over there. You can create your events up over there. There are a lot of communities now on Facebook also. There are startup communities, and there are trainer communities, and there are mommy communities. There are so many communities you can actually go and share about your training details over there. Now there is an entire training network. So I am a part of a two trainers network where they have more than 5,000 trainers. So these are the communities you need to be a part of. I'm not saying affiliate marketing you should not do, but don't restrict yourself with this affiliate marketing. There are a lot of other things that you can actually do, and you must definitely try doing them.
Okay. So how important do you think, and what is the importance of creating a business account for, say, you know, for Instagram and Facebook? What extra features do they have? Like they give a lot more insights, right?
Correct.
So can you just discuss more about that? That how it is important for you to convert. You don't have to do much. This I'm telling to everyone, that you don't have to do much when it comes to using these social media apps, because these are built for so that everybody around can use it easily. They have their whole interface is based like that, so that everybody, it's easy for everyone to do it, right? So could you
Correct.
just talk a bit about the importance of having a business account?
Sure. So, say for example, if you have your personal account, first of all, if you actually see the policies of Facebook, you are not allowed to do business from your personal accounts. That's only for your personal reasons. Of course, having said that, it doesn't mean that you cannot post about your products and services there. It can. But if you really want to get into the full fledged marketing and branding part of it, you will have to have a business page on your Instagram, on your Facebook. Yeah, because it has a lot of other things. It gives you insights. What time are your people coming online? What is the best time for you to post? Giving you those targeting options, from which area people are coming to you, what age people are coming to you. So accordingly, you'll be able to target it effectively. Another thing is your personal profile has a limit of only 5,000 friends, while if you see the business page, you can have 1 million followers. So having a business page is of course very important. But having said that, to be very honest, the organic reach right now of the page is low. Yeah, so you will have to work out organically first, and of course get into the paid marketing also. But business page is extremely important, because there are a lot of features which you will not find on a personal profile, which you will always get on a business page, like adding a shop section, adding all your services, adding a call to buttons if they want to just call you, or they just want to visit your website, or want to visit your online store or your offline. So everything of that sort is possible only in your business account. So business account for that matter is very important.
Hmm. Okay. So Vipashnya Dubey is asking here that what type of content on Instagram does best for the Indian audience, right? So there are so many different types of things that we can put, right? There's a normal post, like a static post that you can put. Then there's a carousel post. Then there are IGTV videos or a normal 1 minute videos. Then there are GIFs. Then there are stories, video stories, swipe up stories, and things like that. So and there are like people make these huge grids, right, which I feel that just loses engagement for your pages. I mean, if
Correct.
you're focused on engagement, I think grids don't work that well, because people are getting half informations in those big grids that they apply. So which can you just break down all these
Sure.
different type of contents that are there for Instagram and for Facebook as well?
Okay, great. So first, of course, if we see Instagram, as I said in the start, it's a visual platform. Okay, so first of all, your pictures have to be very powerful. If you're making a design, it has to be very powerful to my eye, because only if I like the picture, I'm going to actually go and even engage with it. So you might have some fabulous content collated out there, but if your visual doesn't appeal me, trust me, I'm not even going to your content and reading what you've written there. So you have to focus. If you're product based, I would definitely suggest you either get a product photographer or get yourself trained into product photography. There are a lot of trainers who gives you online trainings. YouTube there are a lot of trainings, so get yourself done with just your smartphone. You can really click good pictures. Okay, so I would definitely suggest, if you're into the product industry, you should definitely invest in product photography. One is that. Second is what kind of content really works. So what I've done is I've created a list of around 30 content ideas that you can actually put. So it doesn't have to be only related to products and services, because if you just keep bombarding people with your products and services, they are just going to unfollow you, because you're on Instagram not for that. If they want to actually check out products, they'll go to Amazon, they're not going to come to Instagram. So you have to understand that you have to keep them engaged. And what are these different ways? So you can have some experiential posts, you can have did you knows, and you can have statistics, and you can have some beneficiary pictures and some of your reviews. You could have your behind the scenes, you could have travel pictures, you could have current affairs, you can have moment to moment marketing. So there are a lot of ample ways of how you can create content, but only one kind of content, if you keep putting it up, trust me, it's not going to really help you. So of course you'll have to do trial and error. There are no correct answers to any one thing. If you don't keep on trying and testing, you'll really not know what is working. But you, of course, you'll have to try different things. And of course, Insights Business Manager also has insights where it will tell you which post has given you the maximum likes, which post has given you maximum engagement. This will really help you to plan your next series of posts. So after
Hmm.
your say 10 12 posts are done, you should always go to your insights and see how your posts are faring. So you'll come to know that what content is really working for you.
Yeah.
Because for example, particular content might work fabulously with my target audience, which might not work with your target audience. So there are no one clear cut answer for anything. You'll have to do trial and error and figure out what is the right mix of content that really works for your audience.
Yeah, exactly. So, just agreeing to what you just said, just when you're starting out any of your social media platforms, right? Don't be so set in your thinking that, okay, this is the path that I'm going to follow, because that's not going to work. You just have to keep posting, keep trying different things, and experimenting with new things is very important. You have to keep looking for new things to put up, and what other kind of posts you can use to
Correct.
attract more people, and get more engagement on your post. So that is very important,
So what
trying and figuring out, and definitely like going inside, so that if you're really serious about building your social media platform, you have to like keep on going back to your insights and checking, okay, I got this much engagement on my this post. And so there is a reason, right, why you're getting more engagement on one post and lesser on the other, because your audience is able to connect to that more. So you
correct.
have to then build on, and not only that, okay, I got engagement on this, that okay, I'll just keep putting similar posts. You can't even do that, because
Correct.
then the audience will get bored and your engagements will go down. So you have to
Correct.
try new things and keep on experimenting. So
So one thing,
Savitri,
sorry, Rana, I would
yeah.
just like to add that the about us section also is very, very crucial. Like if you go to your Instagram, there are many accounts that see, just the name of the company. Now, what the name of the company is, it is not self-explanatory. So having keywords in your bio section, putting out relevant hashtags, putting out relevant content, that this is the purpose of your platform, this is exactly your TG, this have been your milestones till date. So putting up that in crisp and clear will really, if the person comes on your platform and doesn't understand, trust me, it's not really going to work for you. So I would personally suggest that before you're pushing out your entire Instagram game, try to, take it through some layman and tell them that, can you give me a feedback on this? Do you really, when you come to my platform, do you really understand what exactly my posts are trying to tell you? Because see, for me, my posts are fantastic. I will not find any problem with that. But it is for the layman. Are the layman really understanding the kind of content that you're putting? So having that feedback system is extremely also important. So I would personally suggest that the entire bio and the about section of yours, you really need to work, because that is how you'll attract more people to your platform.
Okay. So Harsha here is asking, can you tell a little more about hashtags and how we can leverage around the millions of hashtags? Are
Okay.
creating new hashtags a good strategy?
Okay, great. So for hashtags, I'll tell you four different types of hashtags that you can use for each of your posts, and this is how you should plan it. Okay, so the first category of hashtags are those hashtags which are related to that particular picture or that particular product. Okay, so for example, if it's a pink dress, so you need to include the color pink. You need to include the, is it an ethnic dress, or is it a short dress, or is it a Western attire? What is it? So everything related to that picture, you need to have some hashtags. Of course, you cannot have more than 30 hashtags, so you need to have 30 hashtags in your post. So first category of hashtags are those hashtags which are related to that picture. Second
Hmm.
category of hashtags should be those hashtags which are trending in your industry. Okay, so in the fashion space, what are the kind of hashtags that are trending? So that you can of course find out in two ways. One is of course through the platform Lee tags, which I told you. It will really help you find trending hashtags. And what you can also do is follow big guys from your industry. see what kind of hashtags they are using on their post, because they've already done their research and everything. So you pick up 3 4 hashtags from there and then include in your post.
Yeah.
Third category of hashtags are those hashtags which is common in all the posts that you do. So maybe your brand name. So for example, Ami Savala Himani. So this hashtag probably I'll put up in all my posts. Okay, digital coach. I will put up in all my posts. Okay, so some hashtags should be common in all the posts that you do. And the fourth category of hashtags are those hashtags which are location related, because you want people from that location also to see your post. So if you are, say, for example, I'm doing a training in, say, Powai. So I need to put up Powai, Hiranandani, Mumbai, Maharashtra, all the related things related to Powai. I will also put up maybe, famous places of Powai, Hiranandani, Powai Plaza, IIT. So I should definitely take momentum of the location based hashtags also. And this is how
Yeah.
you create a good hashtag strategy and good hashtag mix for your post.
Okay. So also there is a larger group of hashtags, right? So if let's say you're not a product, but then just a platform trying to build something else, just like a personal platform, I'd say, right? So you try to use there are larger hashtags, right? Which just first go in the search section and search hashtags. So there'll be hashtags which are being followed by you followed and used by millions of people, right? Try to use those hashtags, but those are the bigger hashtags. Then you'll also have to go down to the more the smaller ones, which is a smaller
Exactly.
group. So the chance of your discovery increases so much, right? So I also do influencer marketing. So when I want to search for an influencer, okay, so I go to Instagram and I want to actually discover people. So I type in Mumbai bloggers or Mumbai mommy bloggers, and that's how I find the influencers there, and that's how I reach out to them. So a lot of businesses will reach out to you using those hashtags. So a hashtag is literally just a tag that
Exactly.
is going to be aligned to your post, to your business, and it increases your chance of discovery. So basically
Definitely.
we just have to see that what is it that people are searching, and how can you include that. I mean, how is that in cohesiveness with your brand, with the kind of post you're putting, with the kind of content you're creating.
Very true. Very true.
And also, I'd like to add that when you're putting up stories on Instagram, I don't know why a lot of people don't do this, but and actually not a lot of people do it. Like when you're putting up stories, there's this hashtag, the pink and the yellow one, the main hashtag that you can use from the swipe up thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So where all the GIF and all the other options are. So if you use that hashtag, your story comes in the major suppose there's a 1 million people are following that hashtag, your story will be visible in that story, and when you go to that story, you'll see that, oh shit, only 10 stories are there, and your story is one of those 10 stories which a million people are following. Because not a lot of people are leveraging this at the moment. I really don't know why people are not doing it, but they're still not doing it. So I think this is a great thing. If you want to increase your discoverability on your stories, you use that hashtag. Also, you can add a lot other hashtags, right? If you don't want your stories to look very cluttered, what you can do is, suppose your background is white, just write the hashtags in white so that all the hashtags are
Exactly.
kind of
You just
hidden.
hide them. Yes.
Yeah, so they get hidden in your stories, and that increases your, you actually get a lot more views on your stories like that. I'd say that for a normal business, there are chances that you'll get 150 more views, which is a lot. I mean, to get additional views with just a hashtag. So I think that's one thing that you all should definitely try. And so Savitri Varma is asking how to reach out people on LinkedIn and what is the strategy to make your presence known there.
Okay, great. So, Savitri, a very good question. I don't know why so many people are not really using LinkedIn. Trust me, it's a gold coin. Like, you really don't know what kind of results it can give you. So, recently I got a project where I got to train around 500 doctors, and that the entire project I got through LinkedIn. I got to interview with CNBC. That one I got through LinkedIn. And there have been so many training projects that I got through LinkedIn. And trust me, I don't know any kind of paid marketing on LinkedIn. It's just organic. It's just about building my personal brand. It's about putting valuable stuff, putting up my interactions with professionals, creating a very good profile, having a strong headline with keywords. Yeah, just if you work on your content, Just even if you work on your profiling and putting up right content, you can actually, ace the game on LinkedIn. Trust me, no need to do any paid marketing on LinkedIn, or no need to even go for a premium account. You can just create good profile, create good content, create valuable information out there, connect to the right people, keep on posting stuff, keep on sharing articles and blogs which are really really nice, and trust me, LinkedIn can be a game changer for you. Please try LinkedIn.
Okay. So Ayushi here is asking how to ensure that your content is not plagiarized. So first of all, if we think that okay, we don't want to do I mean, we don't want to be copying someone else, for that I think you just have to consume more and more content around your own field and just be aware of what the other people are posting so that you don't come as the copycat, that you're just copying other people's content. And I wanted to ask you, Amy, that how, so say we are a small business and we're creating awesome content. How do we prevent the larger businesses from copying us and sort of taking our content and our point of views? That happens a lot of times when larger companies, there are so many Instagram accounts which have gotten these allegations later on that their content has been taken from a lot of small places. So how does the smaller audience, a smaller accounts prevent this from happening? How do they keep track of it? Is there a way? I really wanted to know this because I have no clue about this.
So to be very, very honest, if your content is getting copied, you should say hooray to yourself, means you're better than them. And people are actually taking inspiration from your content. So I personally suggest that you shouldn't take all of that into account. You're
Hmm.
creating fabulous content, and that is why people are copying you. And and suppose if you're unique, I'm sure you'll have 10 other unique ideas, And today, if you see on social media, 90%, 85% of these things all copied. Even if they're not copied, they're inspired from some or the other places, So you cannot say that I don't want anyone to copy my content. It happens with all of us. It happens with you, me, every day. So we have to
Hmm.
face it and take it positively and just keep on doing good things out there, is what I would personally suggest in this matter. Because
Okay.
just brooding over it. So there have been a lot of people who tell me that I avoid, say, there was this Mehndi artist, and she said that I put up some amazing Mehndi this, but there are some others who charge very less than what I do, and then they copy my style. So you have to understand that because of that, if you're going to restrict putting out posts related to your product and service, you're going to miss out on a big chunk. You have to understand there is market for everyone. We
Hmm.
have enough resources, we have enough clients for everyone. So please don't get shattered with your stuff getting copied. You just keep doing your good stuff, and trust me, you will get what you are deserve to get. You will get that. So
Yeah.
yes, that's one thing what I would like to personally share.
Okay. So Amrita here is saying that Twitter seems high risk return. So do you think that people have to be a lot more careful on Twitter than they can be, on Facebook? Okay, I think that things don't get so picked up on Facebook as they get on Twitter and as heated they get on Twitter. So do you think it's the products have to be very very careful when they're promoting themselves on Twitter?
Yes, of course, very important, because say you are putting out something and maybe you've not thought it up in that way, but someone has taken the entire line in a very different perspective. So whatever, not only Twitter, I would say in any social media platform related to your brand and business, you cannot, afford to make any mistakes. Please QC, double check your content with 3, 4 people of your team members. See, there are no spelling mistakes, see, there are no grammar mistakes. You cannot afford to have that from a business page, so check your content very much before you actually put it out, because you don't want to first put it out and then delete it. There are already so many people who've already seen it, and then we don't want to create a mess around it. One is that. Second, this is just one thing which I would like to add here. Please don't badmouth anyone on social media. Even if you don't like any product, or if you've been dissatisfied with any product, I would personally suggest not to badmouth, because if you badmouth, trust me, it comes bad. And it has happened with a lot of the people I know, and it comes bad in a very big way. So if you want to share positivity, do that. Don't get into any controversies. Don't get into any controversial political
Definitely not
talks.
from your business accounts.
Exactly.
You
You
have
know,
your personal accounts for that.
it's still fine. Yeah, you can do whatever you want to do, but from your business accounts, you must see to it that you don't get into any unnecessary controversies, because everything that you've built up over the years, 10 years, your
Hmm.
one tweet can just ruin it for you. So you need to be very, very careful.
Yeah. Okay. So Alisha here is asking, should we watermark our pictures? how important is it to watermark or add a logo, and how big the logo should be?
Okay, so actually, if you see the big brands now, you would see them that they will never put that because their brand name is itself their thing, so they will never put that. Because if you actually put up a lot of two watermarks, your picture it really
Yeah.
looks very clumsy. So if you want maybe right corner or left corner very small, you can put it out. Okay, but I would personally suggest not to put any watermarks because it really makes your entire thing look very clumsy and bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The consumers itself, when they see a lot of branding on a creative, their entire mood is like so much branding nobody wants to really see. So how do you deal with clients who are, once you have clients, so that's the thing with clients, right? They always like logo thoda bada karo. So how do you respond to that? I mean, you have to do it since they're paying you.
So what we generally do with our clients is we tell them that we can surely do it, but these are three reasons why I would personally suggest you to not do it. Because
Okay.
one is when you actually put up the logo upfront, it looks too gimmicky, it looks too promotional, and
Yeah,
people they get suddenly put off because if you see from starting in the morning, all I'm seeing is ads everywhere. And you're just showing
exactly.
me one more ad and one more product and one more logo of yours, and I'm just tired of it. And I will just scroll through, I will not even wait on your post. So there are certain reasons which you can give to your clients that these are personal reasons which I'm giving you, which has worked for our other clients. So this is what we feel that even you should do it. But if you feel otherwise, then we can go ahead with whatever you want. But this is what our personal opinion for putting watermark is what
Hmm.
I think we should convey to the client.
Okay. So I think we've discussed quite a few things. Amy, is there something else that you want to add in this in terms of do's and don'ts of social media? So just a recap of things because I feel like we've discussed a lot of it. If you want to just give any further suggestions, and then I'll just take Charvi's question in the end. So before that, you can just give any do's and don'ts.
Okay, so first, if you say in don'ts, okay, there are so these are small things, but it really matter a lot. Please don't unnecessarily tag people in your post. They don't like it. Okay, I have personally blocked so many people. People can actually block you. Okay, so please, if they are not in that product or they are not a part of it in any way, don't tag them. If you want, you can tag them in the comment section, but don't tag them. Also, your content when you put it out, please don't put up in all caps. There are people who put up their entire description in all caps. It makes me put off that very moment.
It's like
Also,
someone shouting at you.
exactly. Also, don't just go gaga about this is me and we are doing this, and people really don't want that. People really want value. If you give them value, they are more than enough with that. But just going gaga about this is our product and this are the USP and this is why we are the best and all, trust me, this puts off people. So I would suggest to go the other way. Try the value part of it. Give more and more value to people. Give more and more things that they really want instead of pushing your products and things to people. So that is how you should really focus your social media as. And of
Hmm.
course, then do's, I would personally suggest consistency is very important. You cannot have two posts right now and then five posts and then again two posts. Your entire reach is going to go down. Okay, so please don't do that. Also, see to it that you are at the right time you're posting. You're not posting at haywire times, so you can schedule your posts in before that. So all of those things are these are small things but very very important. Yeah.
Okay. So to close it all, Charvi is asking a question here. How promising is a career in social media?
Superb. So I'll tell you my own story actually. So before being a social media trainer, I was myself a startup founder. And when I was just 22 years old and I started with my first company where I was working on a project of online barter. Yeah, but trust me, I needed some more funds for that. So, and that is the reason I started training people part time. So initially, when I started, I used to literally teach people how to use smartphone, how to book an Uber, how to book Ola, how to open Facebook. That are the kind of things I've started with, and then
Hmm.
whatever money I used to generate from that I used to put back to my original startup. But then I realized that oh my god, this opportunity is so fantastic. There are so many people out there, so many women for that matter, who have some fantastic ideas but they don't know how to use these platforms. So I said
Yeah.
that probably these women, of course, there are some challenges that they cannot go for a 3-month course, or they don't have so much of time to consume, or for example they're not even tech savvy. So, and I said that there are already so many trainers in this space. So, how can I create my niche? How can I create my space in this overcrowded market? So, I
Hmm.
said, I'm going to be teaching only to women okay, who are business owners and who really want to ace social media. And then
Yeah.
I planned, say, a 5 hour workshop where I will not teach them everything, but whatever is needed for them, I would probably just teach them that. And trust me, it's given me fantastic results, and I've trained more than 4,500 women till now, you know. So again, a career in social media is superb. There are so many avenues. You can be a trainer, you can be a marketer, you can be a social media manager, you can, you know, create your own agency. If you are good in content, get a designer person, get a strategic person, get a management person. Together, four of you can actually start your social media, because today every second house there is a business entrepreneur, and he has social media but he doesn't have time to manage it. So if you can
Yeah.
really learn these skills, and we now though there are so many tools also available, you know, if you can just use these tools, and trust me, you can create your agency. I'm not saying maybe start with big projects, you can start with small projects. Say for example, your aunt is a baker and she's just started it, okay, so you can just help her out with her Facebook, Instagram, and start earning through that. That will be like your pocket money. And that way you can do some fabulous business. There is a business on blogging, you can become influencer. Now there's another lady I know, she's a mommy blogger. She's basically a food artist. She creates some amazing food art, and today there are big sponsors who come to her and they tell her that can you please promote this food product for us. So she initially started with a content creator, but today she's a very big food blogger, you know, and she gets paid for it. So it's all about being different in your approach. So again, if you see, I got into the training space, but I took a different approach. I said I will train, say, maybe senior citizens, and I will train people who are not much tech savvy. So maybe you get into that same space, but get a niche, take a space where no one has ventured, and you know,
Yeah.
try to create a mark. But trust me, social media is very promising, ample of avenues. Get into it, see what really suits your personality, and just go for it.
Yeah. And also there are a lot of things that you can do in social media. It's not just the businesses part of it. You can also handle, I mean, if you're interested, depending on where your interest lies, like you could be handling the social media of a lot of celebrities, right? Like obviously Deepika, Anushka, these guys are not uploading their own pictures, right? They're not managing their grids or their stories. Their social media managers are constantly pestering them, okay, upload something, you have like, you know, send us this, send us that, and they're the ones who are actually uploading this, writing the captions for them, obviously with their voice aligned to their platforms. So I mean, you, like AB said, you have to find which, where do you want to go, right? And the higher, suppose if you're handling people, right, so where do you go? So if the bigger the celebrity, the more you're going to earn in term, because the higher will be the responsibility, right? You could be handling social media for celebrities, politicians, and it could be anything, like big organizations, bigger, you know, like L'Oreal or anything. There are so many things that you could be handling social media for. And don't be, the only advice that I'd give to all the social media people out there, that don't be restricted to one platform, that okay, I'm savvy in this, and now okay, this is my life only, I like doing only this. Don't get too attached to one platform. These platforms are going to change, right? Like with every every 6 7 years, these platforms are going to change. Like there's no debate in that. So yeah, so just be more aware of what's going on and which platform, you know, is the current one, and which platform you want to build on.
Yes, definitely,
Yeah.
definitely.
Okay. So with that, I'll close today's conversation. I hope you all learned, if not a lot, a little bit about social media. And I think there are a lot of people asking that because they can't go back on this video right now. So, but yeah, you can see this video again and ask any questions in the comment section, and we will
Yeah,
respond to that.
please do that. Please do that.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Shida people. Thank you, Rena.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Bye bye.